Hey guys, welcome back to Soulback Sports, and I'm so back with another video. And yes, we're going to be talking about Ashton Jeanty. But before you click off the video, I understand that Chicago Bears fan base as a whole is pretty split on this. But let's be honest, it's not as split as we were when it comes to Caleb Williams versus Justin Fields. And pretty much look at how that turned out. Anyways, Ashton Jeanty, the running back that was second when it comes to Heisman voting, that guy that went for 2,600 yards in a season. Yeah, that Ashton Jeanty. And, the Bears as a whole, they really want to look into the offensive line and the trenches. And, the thought of a running back being taken in the first round with the 10th overall pick seems very outrageous as well. But I think that is not really that much in out of the realm of possibility for the Chicago Bears because I think that they have a lot of wiggle room depending on what they do in free agency. But before I get into that, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out a lot. We're eight subscribers away from 600, and we're trying to hit 600 very soon. Let's try to get it before the end of this month, guys. So please feel free to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button below, and comment down below what you guys think about the video. And let's get into it. So, as you can tell, Ashton Jeanty, very much a well-renowned prospect when it comes to this league, and a lot of teams will be needing a running back. And you can make the argument that the Chicago Bears really do need the running back position spot filled out because, especially after last season, it wasn't that great. The run game wasn't that well thought out. And I think under Ben Johnson, we're gonna try to figure out, who is gonna be RB1 and who is gonna be, in terms of depth pieces, gonna be available on this team. And the thing that Ashton Jeanty brings to the Chicago Bears is a level of explosiveness and cool, calm, collected type of running that we haven't seen in a while. I guess probably you can even say since Montgomery, who was able to go right through him. But even Montgomery wasn't necessarily like that the super athletic, like shifty running back that we are so used to seeing when it comes to like olden times, because we were a run first team. So as of right now, he's a 92.5 player rating on this website. And he rushed for 2,601 yards, which is almost broke Barry Sanders' record. Rush average 7 yards a carry, 29 touchdowns, 23 receptions for 138 yards. And as of right now, in terms of a prospect, he is the number one running back prospect. And listen, before you get on me and saying, hey, what about Caleb Johnson, Trevion Henderson? They're great too. And I would be okay with the Chicago Bears waiting to take them as well. But I just wanted to explore the possibility of what the Chicago Bears need to do, to be okay with using that 10th overall pick to snag Ashton Jeanty before, let's say, the Cowboys decide to, because they also really need a running back as well. So take a look at his measurables. He's on the shorter side, but weight is pretty average, pretty normal. And then his 40 time, that speed is really good. He runs a 4.4, and it ranks about 89th percentile in all college football. His ability to break tackles. You've seen it. If you haven't watched Ashton Jeanty highlights, I suggest you do so because it is some of the most electric running you'll ever see. And the fact that he just stands there instead of using, putting his hands to his knees before the snap happens is pretty really interesting. It's very unique to say the least. And he's overall pretty solid. And in terms of his strengths, he's elite contact balance, elite vision, rare combination of burst and long speed, soft natural hands with wide receiver catch radius, workhorse capability, proven durability. That's going to be very important, especially if you looked at that Penn State game in the college football playoffs. While Ashton Jeanty didn't necessarily have a great game, there were moments in that game that you saw him and he was like, oh, he's playing against a really solid team and makes some moves and makes some runs that really open your eyes to see the possibility he has in the NFL. And obviously, with the strengths, you have to go with his weaknesses. He's slightly undersized. Route tree, while effective, could benefit from further refinement. That can obviously be fixed in the NFL. heavy college usage might prompt for load management consideration early in the NFL career, could improve patience and occasional lapse of ball security as well, which that could be fixed in with under a good system and under good coaching as well. And the Bears, as you can tell, have the 10th overall pick in the draft, and they could really utilize an Ashton Jeanty. But what would the Bears need to do in order to get him? Because as many of you, including me, have said, we really need to address the trenches. We need to address the D line before we even think about a running back. Well, I think there's a very good possibility because we are tied with Trey Smith, right? Trey Smith is a guard from Kansas City Chiefs. And we're also tied with Drew Dahlman, who is the center for the Atlanta Falcons. And if we sign them to a relatively decent contracts, so let me pull up real quick the that's not it. This one. So, according to Captain Bear's hype man, who this is his dream scenario, and I think that there's some pretty solid, take when it comes to what the Bears can do is Trey Smith. We sign him, and we give him $21 million a year, which is probably going to be a pretty solid big contract when it comes to signing a guard, and Drew Dahlman. So Drew Dahlman, center, $12 million a year. 21 million a year. That's $33 million in just your two position per year in on your offensive line. So that's pretty solid because the Bears currently, with the cuts that we're made and currently making, will have about $70-ish million in cap space to work with. And by doing so, you leave up a lot of opportunity to get like a Khalil Mack to have address the defensive line and Kevin Zietler as well for a decent contract. So that itself is a total of $46 million out of the 70 potential million. And listen, that 70 million could also increase as well, given that we cut more players as well, because we have to also address them in the draft coming soon when it comes to the defensive line and offensive line. But I think that if we address the center position, which is going to be Drew Dahlman, the guard position with Trey Smith, and we already have Darnell Wright, who is our solid right tackle, who is like one of the best right tackles in the NFL right now. And not many people talk about that because, while in a very terrible system, Darnell Wright has been one of the more bright spots to our offensive line. And as long as we have that side fixed and we continue to add on pieces in the second round, like a Gray Zabel, we get a tackle in the draft, like a Donovan. No, wait, that's Donovan Jackson is a. I don't think he's a tackle, but if we had continue to address get those pieces in the draft, why not? Why not get a Jeanty? Like genuinely, why not? Because that only allows you for your running back room to be insane, and you have Ben Johnson as well to mold him into that running back that he is. Because the Lions, if you looked at the past, they went out and got Jameer Gibbs. I'm not saying that like they're all both comparable or whatnot for Ashton Jeanty and Jameer Gibbs, but I'm just saying the concept of taking a running back and developing him behind an offensive line that's also developing. If you develop Caleb, that offensive line, and the running back in tandem with each other, that only improves their chemistry going forward. And I think that they have the running backs coach with Eric Bieniemy to further instill ball security for Ashton Jeanty, which is a weakness of his, to implement a really interesting catch radius and route chart for him to be a receiving back as well. There are so many opportunities that you can utilize with Ashton Jeanty, and I understand that the hesitancy. And listen, I've also been hesitant. I'm only allowing this to happen only if the Chicago Bears address the offensive line in free agency, adding more veteran talent like a Drew Dahlman and a Trey Smith or even a Mekhi Becton as well if you decide to go and get him as well. Because if you address that offensive line, I'll be more comfortable with sticking with Ashton Jeanty if he does fall to us. And there's a chance he does because in many mock drafts that I've seen at least, like he does fall past 10. And if we don't get Will Campbell in the draft, or I don't want to settle for Kelvin Banks Jr. In the draft when we can, if we already addressed it, why not get a running back, a premier running back like Ashton Jeanty? So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I just wanted to give my thoughts out on that because I think that this whole debate really is pretty simple. It just really just depends on what we do in free agency. And if the Bears go out, get the necessary pieces to make this offensive line as credible and more experienced as possible before getting an Ashton Jeanty, why not? Genuinely, why not? Like, go for him. But that's the only case I'll accept. Let me know down the comments what you guys think about this move and what you guys think about this scenario. Love to hear what you guys have to say. We're 8 subscribers away from the 600 subscriber mark. So please let's hit that together. Thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, guys, we'll see you guys in the next one.